Welcome to Mindset of a Sage. I appreciate everybody tuning in, man. Thank y'all for the support. Definitely matters. I definitely appreciate y'all helping me build something up from the ground up, so I appreciate that for sure. Anybody that's new here, man, just go ahead and click the subscribe now. And everybody go ahead and hit the like and let's jump into this thing. So, what we're talking about today is sexual integrity. And we unpacking the cost of when that becomes corrupt or bankrupt, right? When your sexual integrity is reaching its bottom, or when it's at least not at the rate or at the level where you want it to be. So sexual integrity, I believe, is super important. That's why it's the first lesson in my integrity lessons, and where we started, because sexual connection is one of the major connections that happens between people, right? People are having sex at a much freer rate maybe than ever before. But people are definitely intertwining their DNA and intertwining their lives sexually. And there's a responsibility in that. Now, obviously, the certain responsibilities are clear, right? That we already know. So we're not necessarily talking about that part of the integrity, right? That's a choice, preferences. So we're not talking about that kind of thing, right? Whether you want to be with more than one person, or whether you want to be with, men and women, or however you identify in these different kind of things, right? All of that's not the case. That's a different type of integrity. We're not talking about that. I believe that's for you to choose and your choice alone. What I'm talking about is the integrity of how you are choosing the people, what you basing that off, and how easy it is to be with you, essentially, right? So, how do you choose your sexual partners, right? And why do you choose them, right? So is it just based off the physical, or is it a financial thing, right? Is it about what they can do for you? Is it a certain look? What is it that you're basing it off, right? And where has that premise gotten you to this day? Some of us are married now, you know what I mean? Have, wives or husbands and different things. So you're like, I got my husband, I got my wife. But that don't mean that your sexual integrity is intact because you're married to somebody. See what I'm saying? That don't mean that your sexual integrity is not bankrupt because you're married. Because it's a responsibility on both sides of it. Especially if you're married. You got a responsibility to your wife, to your husband, Definitely. Because especially when you are asking somebody to be with you only until they die, right? There's a responsibility in that, and how you taking care of yourself, how you performing, and all these different things. So that's another part of it, though. So let's stay on topic. We're talking about sexual integrity here. So how we choose, why we choose, what we want. Once you establish that, the next part I want you to think about is the standard of it, right? So why is your sexual, it's clear on certain levels, right? Why your sexual integrity and should have a standard. Obvious, right? But again, we're not talking about the obvious. Yes, we're talking about the standard of the time frame it takes now, right? We're talking about the time frame of connection. Is there a connection even needed for somebody to have sex with you, right? Can a man or can a woman essentially be able to get you in the most vulnerable state, most vulnerable positions without any kind of connection? Are you that type of guy, you type of girl? You know what I mean? Because again, it's not about the physical part, and it's not about the multiple partners. None of these things is what I'm talking about. For everybody who want to tap in on that and point their finger, you point them fingers right back at yourself. I'm not talking about that. That's people's personal business. We're talking about their own. See what I'm saying? Tapping into your own person, because I believe we have to save ourselves. I don't believe help comes from outward when it comes to these type of things. You got to always go within. So that means you got to align. That's why my theme always is what? Seek alignment, not bonding. Later for bonding, man. You got to align with people. You need to be in alignment. You know what I'm saying? Because the more you out of alignment, the more your choices won't reflect who you really are. It's not going to reflect what you believe in. That means that what? You're not going to be getting what you want on a consistent basis. So if you're sitting there right now looking at the screen and you're not getting what you want on a consistent basis, you need to keep listening. Make sure you're paying attention, because this is serious stuff I'm telling you about. It's life changing, and we're growing together. That's the thing. That's why you gotta hit that like, and go ahead on and share it. Make sure people tuning in, because it's not for everybody. That's another thing. What we talking about, this type of enlightenment, this type of alignment is not for everybody. I'm fully aware of that, right? So this is when less is going to be more, but you got to do your part. People that's seeking to align, people that's trying to elevate their mind, go ahead and share it with them, man. It'll help me, it'll help them. And primitive mindset. So primitive mindset plays a major role in this for all of us, right? Now, what separates us from animals is our ability to reason and ration on the level that we do. See? So when you remove that, you're just like a horse now. You're just like a pig. You're just like any other animal with a dick. That's why when that blood leaves the brain, it stopped mattering. See? And you only start to think again once you release it, that blood starts coming back to the brain. Now you realize you're in an alleyway. Well, now you're in an alleyway with some guy that you just met today. Right? And there is an excitement to that. I know there's a freedom to it, right? Major dopamine release, but there's also a massive, serious DNA transference that have now, knowing that is what's happening and that is a part of the sexual experience. You have to evaluate who you decide to have sex with. It definitely just can't be about the release. It can't be because she was pretty and thick only, or he was tall and fine, or short and fine, whatever you like only. Once you base it off that only, you're heading for trouble. Trouble is massive, corrupt, incomplete, not productive relationships, babies that you want or didn't want. And by the way, maybe 8 out of 10 children you see, or people you see on earth, was not planned. And I don't care if your parents was married or not. Don't think all your siblings was planned. See? And I don't care if they got the same parent, all y'all got the same, it don't matter. Don't think everybody was a plan. See? Babies come from sex, and most people just looking to have sex. Just so happened, she got pregnant. Now you gonna do the right thing or not? Now if your parents are married, then you ain't gotta worry about that. They're gonna do the right thing most times. But if not, then your ass in trouble. You better hope that man is gonna do the right thing. You better hope your mother got her shit together, or she at least got a good family, or that baby's in big, big, big trouble. Headed for all kind of trouble, see? Especially when you don't tap into some of the things that we're gonna talk about later, because all you got now is either a baby or a disease, or a meaningless connection with somebody that you're gonna end up seeing at the Kroger or seeing at Publix, and you don't even wanna even look her way, or you don't even wanna look his way, and hope he don't say nothing to you while you with this new thing, or while you with your family, or wherever you with. See what I'm saying? Because you see these people again. That's the thing. And the thing I learned, once a person knows you, they know you. It don't matter what you end up becoming and what they end up becoming, right? Once they know you, they know you. So you be looking back talking about, I don't even know what I was thinking. Yeah, but he knows. And that's how he knows you. See what I'm saying? Or she knows you, Then you become, and that's right off the bat, we already know diseases. So first part that you could easily touch on sexual integrity is make sure you're being safe, right? Clear. And you would think with all of the AIDS and all of the things that's been different diseases that's just been running and flowing all these years that everybody would know that. But no, people are having more unprotected sex than ever. There's diseases all over. Don't slow nobody down. Take pills that hide it and bring levels low, and pills that can kind of prevent things for 24 hours or something like that, right? I've been hearing about wild shit that you're risking your freedom on, even with the condom. Because, by the way, I'll tell you this for everybody that's trusting on these kind of things. Anything man-made can and will break down at some point. There's no guarantee on nothing man-made. All right? So, banking on the condom, mistake. It's definitely going to help, but it's not a guarantee of anything. Just letting you know. So, the next part is, we talked about this a little earlier, was the babies. Now, this is important because how do you end up with the babies and how you end up with the diseases is this major part when it comes to sexual integrity. And everybody remember this part, okay? You gotta take time to get to know who you're sleeping with. I know it seems simple and it seems obvious, but not in a real way. And I'm not saying it to get to know them like, you know, we gonna be together. Nigga, that's the first thing out of nigga's mouth, like, oh nah, like I ain't even trying to be with her like that. No, I understand that. But you just need to know a little bit about her, other than her name, her Instagram handle, maybe where she go to school and all that. You need to know a little bit more than that. You kind of need to have an idea about some of the places she's been, some of the places he's been, right? Some of the people that he's been with, some of the people she's been with. You need to kind of get an idea of these things. You need to get an idea about a family structure, right? Family history. All these things matter because once you have sex with a person, anything can happen. That person for sure can become pregnant. That person for sure can give you, there's levels to it. But so trust me on these things, man. Be mindful and think about the kids because, like I said, it's evolved. So we're better today than we were yesterday. I'm definitely a better dad today than I was 20 years ago, right? So and it's always your first kid, that oldest kid. I'm gonna do a thing about it because it's the shouts to all of the firstborn ones, man, that's still here and made it in spite of different mistakes their parents made and stuff like that. Because believe me, your parents learned on your watch, literally. Like we kind of learned how to become parents and what to do and what not to do, raising you essentially. So shouts to all of the firstborns that's made it, that's still alive and still thriving and kind of doing their thing in spite of. All right. So how do we correct this shit? Right? Let's get to some problem solving stuff here now. First thing you gotta do is, depending on your path, depending on your journey and how low your bottom has been, you gotta forgive yourself for this shit. Wherever you've been. No matter how many times you put your dick on the crap table, no matter how many times you done been on your back somewhere, ladies, or on your knees, right? You gotta forgive. First thing you do is forgive yourself. Next thing you do is get to know yourself. Now, this is super important. Not get to know, and remember, I'm not talking, so get to know yourself this way. What is it that you into sexually, and what is it that attracts you? In a real way, though. No filter, no fluff. Like, what do you like, right? What do you like done to you? What do you like to do to somebody? How many people would you like to be involved? How many interchangeable parts would you like? Would you like no interchangeable parts? You know, you're good with one, right? These things you gotta really, really, really tap into because they play the second most important role in your sexual integrity, right? What you into. Where we fuck up majorly is we put ourselves in situations that we don't necessarily want that way, like meaning only. See? Major thing, man. You can't settle down with girls that don't fit your physical preferences. You can't settle down with men. Well, actually, women can. They got a different maybe it's the peripheral vision they got. They got a different way of thinking. They can. I've spoken with women that haven't had orgasms in decades, but married to a nigga, separate rooms. You know, now he probably having his orgasms with her or with whoever, but for her, she just ain't getting there and ain't got there. You know, definitely ain't sustaining it. Ain't that something? Can't happen to a man because we got a bust. Niggas ain't finished. Niggas ain't stopping till they bust. So we're gonna definitely get an orgasm. That's gonna happen. Yeah, really tap into that so that you don't have to be a deceiver. Because if you don't ask for what you want, and you don't align yourself in a situation that you're getting what you want, you're gonna be a deceiver, man. It's just a matter of time. You're gonna be a deceiver. You're gonna start telling lies and creating false realities and different things like that so that you could satisfy these urges. That's the thing about a sexual preference and things you're into. They gotta be satisfied. This is how kids get raped and shit. Them guys give into that temptation, them preachers and all that kind of stuff, priests and shit, they give into that shit. You gotta go with what you wanna go with. Right? As far as like pedophiles and all kinds of stuff, that's why I say they gotta go when you find out that the person is into children. There's no fixing it. Your preference is that. You're gonna always want that. You locked in on that. Ain't no porn or no adult women. This person like kids, they like kids. They gotta go. Believe me. They're gonna do it again. They get a chance, somebody's gonna get assaulted. So you gotta know it. It's the same thing with us. Somebody cheat on you and that girl ain't nothing like you, or the situation, whatever the case may be, you know it's what he like, or what she like, that's gonna happen again more than likely. You like what you like, man. May not happen on a grand scale the way it do, like, cause shit get out of hand. You get caught up in a situation where you're not getting what you need where you live and you done set it up that way. That's how people end up having whole other lives and families on the side and all this kind of craziness. Believe me, when you don't know what you want or you're not being truthful about what you really want and aligning with it because you're worrying about how it's going to look, how it's going to sound, what people going to think, losing the person that's in front of you, you're going to end up losing them anyway because you're going to end up being a massive deceiver. You're going to be looking people dead in the face, telling lies. I'll tell you right now, it's a tough life. Moving on. Next most important thing we already talked about is getting to know who you with. And again, this ain't about being nobody's boyfriend or being nobody's girlfriend or nobody's husband or nothing like that. This is just getting a good idea of who it is that you're getting ready to transfer this DNA with. That's all. Whose DNA am I about to take on? That's how you gotta think about it. Don't think about the fat ass, right? Don't think about the nigga's shoulders and where he might be going in his life. Think about, do I wanna take on his DNA? Do I wanna take on her DNA? That's how you gotta think. Do I wanna take all of that on? Just for whatever it is, instant gratification is gonna give me this dopamine rush and shit. See what I'm saying? This is the plain English part of it. Very profound when you think about it. That's why I'm telling you this. This was the first part, first stage, man. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, man. And share it like I'm telling you. This is vital stuff here, you know? Mind of the sage, true and living. We own something here. Something. So the next thing to how you correct it is you gotta have a standard beyond, and we talked about this already, but you gotta have a standard beyond money, beyond physical, and beyond what you can get. Very important. How often and how frequent, these is all your preferences. So you can have sex as much as you want and all of that. And with as many people as you want. I'm just saying, don't base it off those three things alone. And make sure you get to know them. And make sure you're getting what you want to get from them. Because if you don't, you're just going to be doing like this. You're going to be in a hamster wheel. See what I'm saying? So make sure you have a standard about it. Now, how can you have a standard other than physical, right? You start to create that standard. Now how that's going to help you? Because your choices is going to be different now. See? You're not just looking at it in a primitive way. You understand what you're going to be taking on here. You already know you're risking diseases in babies. Everybody know that. That's, we still fucking raw. Okay. Think about the DNA part. And for what though? Like why? Very important, man. It's that energy. And for ladies, it's super important because that man and whoever's on the receiving end, you getting DNA shot directly into you in most cases. Just ferminating all in your body. Channel some of that energy. This is super important. Now for this part of the sexual transmutation, I want y'all to look into Think and Grow Rich, written by Napoleon Hill. We got a deep article about it. Deep chapter about it. He talks about it from that perspective, and how the transference and how you need to channel your energy. This is a super important part where you take that same emotion that you're getting from what you want in that release and you channel that into something else that's going to elevate you and improve your life. See, it's a nice cycle that happens there. Now, don't knock it till you try. This is a serious thing. And again, remember, man, I'm not telling you guys to give up on no sex at all. I want a bunch of people walking around sexually frustrated and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's not the case. We're just talking about ways and how. First off, we're talking about how important it is to lift your bottom, and then ways to keep that bottom lift up. And maybe even lifting it up higher and higher. That's all it is. You see what I'm saying? And what that's going to do for your life and how it's going to improve your life. And it also will improve us socially. Anyway, man, thanks for y'all watching, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in, man. Don't forget to like and subscribe. For everybody that's already subscribed, I appreciate y'all for helping me build it up. Don't forget to share it, man. Spread the news, man. And keep on watching, tuning in. Keep that bell on. Yeah, all notifications so you can just get all the content and just like it for me. You see what I'm saying? Let that thing play through. Hit the like and then go on about your day, man. All right, y'all. Appreciate it. Peace.